the chapter of Hajj and Umrah. And this is the last chapter in this book. So the author mentioned Kitabul Hajji wal Umrah. So this is where we are going to speak about the rulings of Hajj and the rulings of Umrah. So inshallah we will enter into our book. So the first thing the author mentioned is Kitabul Hajji wal Umrati. Hajj in the Arabic language it means al-qasd. Al-qasd it means intention. So it means qasd al-Ka'bati lin-nusuki. In the terminology in Islam it is the intention to go to the Kaaba for the sake of the pilgrimage. Whereas al-Umrah in linguistically it is ziyarah. So the word al-Umrah it means ziyarah. And likewise in the term it is ziyaratul Ka'bati lin-nusuki, to visit the Kaaba for the sake of performing the religious rites. So this is what when we are going into al-Hajj wal Umrah. So the author mentioned huma fardani, the ruling of Hajj and Umrah, it is obligatory for both of them. But then we have the conditions on the obligation. We ask for example, what are the conditions for us to say that the Hajj and Umrah is compulsory upon a person. So here the first thing the author mentioned was shartu wujubihima al-Islamu. Number one is that a person must be a Muslim. A person must be a Muslim. Number two, al-Huriyya. So must be a Muslim, meaning it is not compulsory upon kafir. It is not compulsory upon a non-Muslim. So it is wajib upon a Muslim. Number two, that the Muslim must be a free man, not a slave. So a slave is not compulsory upon him to perform the Hajj or the Umrah. Number three is taklif. Taklif that a person has reached puberty. For those who have not reached puberty, the obligation is not upon them, just like any prayers and fasting, and must have intellectual insanity, and not any person who is insane or man. And this is the meaning of taklif. Wal istita'a. And then the thing about Hajj, as what Prophet ﷺ mentioned, liman istata'a ilayhi sabila, that those who have the capacity to do Hajj and Umrah. So the author is going to speak about the meaning of istita'a. So other than that, everything is easy. That a person must be a Muslim, must be a free man, must be mukallaf. And then when it comes into istita'a, he said, وَلَهَا شُرُوطُ الْأَوَّلْ وُجُودُ الزَّادِ وَأَوْعِيَتِهِ. A person who wants to go into Hajj or Umrah, he must have the azzad, the means to do so. So last time our ulama they speaks about the provisions to go into Hajj. Last time during the time of the author 500-600 years ago, if a person wants to travel to Hajj from Yemen, what is the thing that they must have? So they must have the means to go at that particular time to travel to Mecca. So it includes food and drink. It includes the animal that they want to ride. It includes their health, for example, the capacity to go through the desert and to cross the desert, because last time the means of transportation are the animals basically. But nowadays, subhanallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy upon us. Today we don't speak about what animal will you be riding if you want to go to Hajj or Umrah. Today, normally in every country we have this travel agent. A person just only need to pay a sum in your money to a particular travel agent, then he can perform the Hajj and he can perform the Umrah. What is important that the person he must be healthy, he can walk, or even nowadays people can take on wheelchair, he can pay people to do the tawaf and so on and so forth. So the capacity of doing Hajj and Umrah differs a lot when we make comparison between the past and the past and the present. So this is the parable of the things that the person needs, zad and aw'iyah. These are the means where a person who wants any to perform any the Hajj any of Umrah, they must any possess all these things. Yani in terms any of the provision and in terms any of the things any that are needed for them any to travel. This is the meaning of awiyah. Yani what are the things any that the person any need any for that kind any of travel. So today any we speak about visa, today any we speak any about passport, correct or not? Today any we speak any about yani the clothes any that the person any must have. So everything any is made easy by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa mu'nati zahabihi wa iyabihi, yani the cost, the money, how much money any that the person any must have. So today any for example any if a person wants to travel to Hajj any from Singapore, so how much any money any that he wants any to have. Sometimes it is not necessary to follow travel agent. If a person and he knows any the way, he can go any by himself. But even that, and he has to calculate the cost. How much any the flight ticket. Today we speak any about the cost any of the hotel, the cost any of food any and drink. So all these things any are taken into consideration. And if we say for example 10,000 or 8,000 or 5,000, if a person has any debt any capacity, then Hajj any becomes any compulsory upon him. Number 2, he said wujudu rahila. So today most people any who goes any to Hajj, yani they go to some people any by car, some people by plane, some people any by ship. So means any of transportation. Rahila is the means any of transportation. Yani he has any the means any of transportation to travel. Liman bainahu wa baina Makkah marhalatan. Yani if a person any is more than 2 marhala away any from Makkah. To marhala any is about 86 any kilometers. But those any who is within any 86 kilometers, it is not in a condition any that they must have a means any of transportation. That they can walk. If they has the capacity any to walk, then Hajj any can be made compulsory upon him. If a person says that I don't have anything, I don't have any car, no, I don't have any motorcycle, but I can walk and I have money any for my provisions. That's what we mentioned earlier. Then he becomes any wajib any upon him. For those any who are less than 2 marhala between him and Makkah. Aw shaqi mahmilin liman la yaqdiru ala rahila. Yani sometimes any a person any for example he has any sickness. For example those any who are in wheelchair. They do not have any the ability any to go any by themselves. Any they need any someone any to help them. So in this any situation any Hajj any is not compulsory unless if a person any has someone any to help and he is able any to take any that journey, then it becomes any compulsory. Because last time any for example if a person any is sick, he has any a camel any for example, but he does not have the ability to ride any the camel. He does not have the ability to ride any the camel, to stand riding. So in that case any Hajj any is not compulsory. Walil mar'ati ma'a wujudi sharik. So when it comes any to woman, they must have mahram. They must have mahram. And if a woman any is alone, then it is an excuse any for her not to go any to Hajj. But some any ulama any mention that if there is any a group any of women any following, then it is permissible. Like nowadays, any when they follow the Hajj group, usually they were men and women. So in this situation, any it is any permissible. So last time any the Saudis any they were strict any on this. Even any you go in a group, you must have mahram to prove that you have someone any with you. But nowadays, mashallah, tabarakallah, no mahram any needed, but it is any too any extensive any in terms any of the leeway any that they are giving. And even if a person any travels any by herself, also there will be no issue any to go any to Mecca. But of course any our fuqaha any mentioned that it is not impermissible any for a woman to travel by herself. وَلَا تُشْتَوْ رَاحِلَةُ لِمَنْ بَيْنَهُ وَبَيْنَ مَكَّةَ أَقَلْ مِنْ مَرْحَلَتَيْنِ. This is what we mentioned any just now. If a person any is less than 2 marhala, rahila any is not a condition, yani means of transportation. وَهُوَ قَوِيٌّ عَلَى الْمَشْيِ. And the condition is also وَهُوَ قَوِيٌّ عَلَى الْمَشْيِ. Unless any if he says I cannot walk, I need a car, I need a transportation, then any becomes if he has any transportation then it becomes any compulsory. Otherwise any it is not compulsory. وَيُشْتَرَطُ كَوْنُ ذَلِكَ كُلُّهُ فَاضِلًا عَنْ دَيْنِهِ. All this any must be the excess any of his loans. And sometimes any a person has money but he need to pay his loan. And his loan and is coming, and the end any of the loan and is coming. The date due is coming. So how much any is the loan? The loan any is 10,000. How much any you have? 10,000. Now any we say Hajj any is not compulsory for you because you have money, but you have to pay for your loan. Wa mu'nati man alayhi mu'natuhum dhahaban wa iyaban. So all the costs any of going and returning, they must have. So how much? We say $10,000. So they have any $10,000. Wa an maskanin, and then they must have extra money any for their house. For example, if a person is renting house, he must have enough money any to pay rent. A person any is buying any house, then monthly installment, he must have the money to pay any for the house. And likewise, any he has a khadam that he needs of. So he needs any to pay any for the maid, or needs any to pay any for the khadam. Then all these things, and we say, what is the excess any of all these things? The money needed any to pay for the journey, the money needed any to pay for the house, the money needed to pay the nafaqah of those who are under him, the money needed any to pay the maid, for example, if he needs anyone. So all these things, and we say, what is the excess? If the excess any is such that he has any day capacity any to spend any for Hajj, then it becomes any compulsory. So number one, any we speak any about what you call it, the ability any to perform any Hajj in terms any of having the provisions. And number two, any is about the means any of transportation, and also the excess money any that the person any has, which is enough any for him to perform the Hajj. As-salisu amnu tariq. Number three, the author any mentioned the condition any of istita'ah any is also amnu tariq, meaning that the journey there is peace. There's no highway robbers. It's not a dangerous time. It's not a time of war. Last time, and for example, the Muslims during the Crusades, time and it was very dangerous for them and to perform Hajj, because the Crusaders and will attack them and on the way, on the route and to Hajj. Likewise, and when the Muslims and were at war with the Mongols last time, so they take the opportunity and to attack any the pilgrims while on the journey. So many people and pass away. So if that is any the case, then it's not any compulsory, because any there is a danger. And nowadays, any we can imagine and if there is a war. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. But if there is any war and were to break out, and for example, airplanes are being shot down, for example, at certain any places, especially in the Middle East, if we fear any for our lives, then it is not compulsory for us to go into Hajj during that time. So he said, Amnu tariq. Arabi'u, number 4, wujudu zadi wal ma'i fil mawadi' al mu'tad hamluhu minha bisamanin mislihi. And then the author speaks about the existence of provisions and water in places which normally people can get those food and those water. What is the meaning? You see, last time we have to imagine, we have to understand what the author is speaking about. You see, the author is speaking about traveling in the desert, traveling in the places towards Mecca. So imagine if a person lives in Morocco, he wants to travel to Mecca. What is the good that he's going to take? He's going to take the good at North Africa. He's going to walk the good of North Africa. So last time what they do during the Hajj season, they will designate places for food and shelter and water for pilgrims. This is the Islamic tradition. So people who walk from Morocco, they will have designated stoppages. Like nowadays, when you travel on highway, what we have rest and relax, R&R. So you can stop, you can pump petrol, you can eat, you can drink. So last time also they have such, that if you are traveling in the desert, they will have certain stoppages, points. So if those points in those places are present, point number 1. Point number 2 is that the food and drink are sold bisamanin mislihi, that it is sold at market price, and not at a price that is too high. If that is the case, then Hajj is not compulsory, because if people take the situation as such, they raise all these prices of provisions, then it is not compulsory. وَهُوَ الْقَدْرُ لَائِقُ بِهِ فِي ذَلِكَ الْمَكَانِ وَالزَّمَنِ, and it is the estimated amount, or estimated amount of money that is paid at that particular time and place. So in every time and place, we have the cost of certain things. Nowadays, we don't talk much about this, Because nowadays, at the end of the day, you just pay the travel agent. Nowadays, we don't speak any about while on the way to Makkah, there must be designated any places, all the stoppages, must be there. Nowadays, we say what is important, is the price of the package. Is the price of the package market price or not market price? If the price of the package market price, then we say okay, Hajj it becomes compulsory. But if the price is not based on market price and prices are jacked up, then Hajj will not be compulsory. And there is fatwas from our ulama, contemporary ulama that says that Hajj is not compulsory today because of the injustice in the prices that were raised. Allahu alam. Some scholars go to that extent to come out with a fatwa to say that Hajj today is not any compulsory because of all these things that is happening. And one of the things is due to the visa, because last time there is no visa to perform any Hajj. There's no such thing as visa for Hajj. So when the Saudi authorities started to impose any visa, and the first time in the Islamic history, that is when a lot of ulama mentioned Hajj is not compulsory. Hajj is not compulsory because they question why is there a need for me to pay the visa? Why is there a need now for me to pay the visa, to perform Hajj? So these are so many of the things, that some many ulama, they come out with such fatwas. But then if we were to perform, then our Hajj will be valid, even though the prices skyrocketed for no reason. Especially this COVID period, for example, everything rise. The rise of the petrol, the rise of the hotel prices and all these things. But whatever it is, and if a person has the capacity, and if a person says, whatever it is, I want to perform Hajj, whatever it is, I want to perform Umrah, will the Hajj and Umrah be valid? Yes, and it will be valid. Even though we say there is zulm, or there is an injustice in the prices. Then the author mentioned وَعَلَى فِي الدَّابَّةِ فِي كُلِّ مَرْحَلَةٍ. Alaf dabba meaning the food for the animal. Nowadays we don't talk about this anymore. Nowadays we speak about petrol. Correct or not? If a person has money or no money, if a person travels from Bahrain, when I was in Makkah, I met a person from Bahrain. I asked him, how come you come to Makkah? I drive. So normal people who come from the Gulf, they will drive. And people from Bahrain, Wallahu alam, maybe from Kuwait, I do not know. So many of these Gulf countries nearby to Saudi. People from Jordan, for example, from Jordan, they drive. They have even a bus. Amman to Jeddah in a straight bus. So in that situation, we speak about petrol money. We don't speak about alaf dabba today. Unless if a person live in the Badwi, in the mountainous areas of Saudi, and he travels by camel, then we can say, okay, if you have the money for the alaf here is the food for the animal. Fi kulli marhalatin, in every stages of the journey. ولا يجب على المرأة إلا إن خرج معه زوج أو محرم أو نسوة ثقات. This is the meaning. That's why I mentioned نسوة ثقات, a group of women that can be trusted. For example, if 5 women traveling, no problem, they can travel, even though there is no mahram. If a woman can travel with a group, then it becomes compulsory upon her. Or the husband is following, or she has a mahram, then it becomes wajib. Al-Khamis, أن يثبت على الراحلة بغير مشقة شديدة. This is for people who travels on camelback, travels on donkeys, travel on horses. Do they have the ability to ride those horses for a few days? Riding a horse, donkey, all these things requires health. If a person is weak, you cannot travel on camelback. How you travel on camelback? If a person has back pain, he cannot travel on horseback, because by the time he rides the horse, he can feel the difficulty. But nowadays, mashallah, people don't travel by horses anymore. Even to travel by horses, they won't let you in Mecca. You cannot come in with your camel today. You have to stop at some point. You have to take transportation at the end of the day. So today we speak about taking aeroplane. Can a person take aeroplane or cannot take aeroplane? Can a person take the car? Okay, if a person is on wheelchair, is there anyone? There are also services. Travel agents provide services for wheelchair. So they will assign a person to help. So you have to pay extra. Does that person has the ability to pay that amount, extra amount, to pay for the wheelchair, for person to push in Tawaf and in Makkah in the second or third level? They are the wheelchair places, and you just have to pay money, and then you can have people pushing you all the way for 7 rounds. So all these things today is situation is very different. Wala yajibu ala al-a'ma. Hajj is not compulsory upon the blind illa idha wajada qa'idan. If there is a person who is going to assist him. Otherwise it's not compulsory. He will not know the way. Today again we have all these services. Even today you see blind people doing tawaf. Blind people doing hajj. They have services specifically for these people. You have to pay a certain amount, or unless a relative is with them. وَمَنْ عَجَزَ عَنِ الْحَجِّ بِنَفْسِهِ وَجَبَتْ عَلَيْهِ إِسْتِنَابَةٌ. What happens if a person says, I cannot perform the hajj? A person is bedridden, for example. He cannot perform the hajj by himself or herself. He can do istinaba. Istinaba meaning you can appoint somebody else to perform the hajj for you. But this is the situation if you do not have the ability to do so. In qadara alayha bimalihi, a person he has mal and he has money and he can pay. So today we have this thing, they call it the badal haji. You go to the travel agent and you pay a certain amount to hajj for fulan bin fulan. Then what do you call it in this situation is valid. Aw biman yuti'uhu. He asks someone, his good friend, can you perform hajj for me? In that situation, it is permissible. So istinaba is only permissible for those who cannot perform the hajj. For those who can perform the hajj, cannot do istinaba. He cannot ask people to do hajj on behalf of him. Illa idha kana baynahu wa bayna Makkah duna masafatil qasri fayalzamuhu binafsihi. Unless if he is in between Makkah and himself is less than 2 marhala. Masafatul qasr meaning 2 marhala. Now it is compulsory upon him to perform by himself. If he has the ability, unless he's bedridden, then it is not compulsory. He can do istinaba. Now the author speaks about istita'a, the capacity of doing hajj, because this is one of the integrals of hajj, that a person must have istita'a. So we mentioned istita'a in terms of money, istita'a in terms of health, istita'a in terms of transportation, istita'a in terms of ability and capacity and situation and place. Then he speaks about on the time of the miqat of hajj and umrah. So now he is going to speak about what is the miqat. Miqat, we have miqat zamani, miqat makani. Miqat zamani is basically the month of Zulqa'dah, the month of Shawwal, Zulqa'dah and Zulhijjah. This is what the author says. He said, yuhrimu bil umrati kulla waqt. When it comes to umrah, anytime. You can perform umrah anytime. Wa bil hajji fi ashurihi. But when it comes to hajj, you have to observe miqat zamani. Wa hiya shawwal wa dhul-qa'dah wa ashrun min dhil-hijjah. So if you are in this time, then you can do the ihram. Shawwal, dhul-qa'dah, and the first 10 days of dhul-hijjah. فَلَوْ أَحْرَمَ بِهِ فِي غَيْرِ وَقْتِهِ نَعَقَدَ عُمْرَةً. If a person does the intention of hajj in other than this month, it becomes umrah. So now, for example, we are in the month of Sha'ban. A person, for example, he said, Nawaitul hajja wa ahramtu bihi lillahi ta'ala, and he goes into Makkah. We say, you have to perform umrah and not hajj. This is not in the time of hajj. Your intention automatically becomes umrah. وَمَنْ كَانَ بِمَكَّةَ فَيُحْرِمُ بِالْحَجِّ مِنْهَا وَبِالْعُمْرَةِ مِنْ أَدْنَى الْحِلِّ. Those who are staying in Makkah, he performs the ihram in Makkah. And when he wants to perform the umrah, he goes to Adna al-Hill. Adna al-Hill is the outskirts of Makkah. The outskirts of Makkah is called Adna al-Hill. If he wants to perform in umrah, he has to go out to the outskirts, then perform umrah. When it comes to hajj, he performs the ihram in Makkah. And these are for people who are Makki. those who are staying in Makkah. وَأَفْضَلُ بِقَاءِ الْحِلِّ الْجِعْرَانَ ثُمَّ التَّنْعِيمِ. The best place to do ihram for Umrah outside of Makkah is in Ji'rana. Ji'rana is in a place quite far away. Normally people don't go to Ji'rana, people go to Tan'im. Because Tan'im is nearer, what you call it, there are a lot of taxis going there, and it's cheaper and so on and so forth. Ji'rana is a bit far. But in terms of Afdal Biqa, the author mentioned, Ji'rana is more virtuous than Tan'im. وَغَيْرُ الْمَكِّي يُحْرِمُ بِالْحَجِّ وَالْعُمْرَةِ مِنَ الْمِيقَاتِ. So other than those who are staying in Makkah, they have to perform the ihram from the miqat. Okay, now we have the miqat makani. Miqat makani are places that is designated by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it depends on where a person is coming from. So here it is. Where is it? He said, وَهُوَ لِتِهَامَةِ الْيَمَنِ يَلَمْلَمْ. If you come from the direction of Yemen, the place is Yalamlam. So Yalamlam is the whole stretch of the border of Yemen into Hijaz. This is Yalamlam. So those who are from Yemen, they do their ihram in this particular place that is called Yalamlam. And we from Singapore also, we perform our miqat in Yalamlam, in the airplane. The airplane do not go down to Yalamlam, but on air we make the intention of ihram for Hajj and Umrah, because we are coming from the east. So people who comes from the east, Yalamlam is the miqat. But if people comes from Najd is above Medina. So it is in a place that is called Karan. Wali Ahli al-Iraq, any people comes from the direction of Iraq, in a place Zatu Irqin. If you go to the internet and you can see all the map of these places. Wali Ahli Sham and Misr and Maghrib. If people comes from the west, there is the place that is called Juhfa. Wali Ahli Madina Dhul Hulayfa. People come from the direction of Medina in a place called Dhul Hulayfa. So normally Singaporeans, sometimes they come from Medina. They take a plane to Medina, and they do ihram from Dhul Hulayfa. فَإِنْ جَاوَزَ الْمِيقَاتِ مُرِيدًا لِلنُّسُكِ. If a person crosses the miqat and he has the intention to do the nusuk, the Hajj and Umrah, ثُمَّ أَحْرَمَ فَعَلَيْهِ دَمْ. Then he has to pay the dam if he doesn't make the intention of ihram in the miqat. Now if a person passes the miqat, then he make the intention. We say you must pay the dam, a sheep. You must pay one sheep. This the dam for those who does not make intention at the miqat. They cross the miqat without making intention. A person comes into Jeddah and realizes that he has not made the intention of Hajj, the intention of Umrah. So we tell him you have to pay the dam. فَعَلَيْهِ الدَّمْ إِنْ لَمْ يَعُدْ إِلَى الْمِيقَاتِ. Unless if he goes back to the miqat. He say, Astaghfirullah, I'm in Jeddah, I forgot to make my intention. I want to go back to Dhul Hulayfa. Okay, you take a taxi to Dhul Hulayfa, you do the ihram and you come. Then you escape yourself from paying the dam. قَبْلَ تَلَبُّسِ بِالنُّسُكِ. But the condition is that you have not started the nusuk. You have not started the tawaf. If you have started the tawaf in Umrah, you cannot go back. You have to pay the dam. But if you have not started anything, then you have the choice to go back to escape paying any of the dam. Because paying any of the dam, one thing we have to understand is that there is a shortcoming in our Hajj or Umrah. That is why it is compulsory to pay the dam. So paying any of the dam in our madhab al-Imam Shafi'i is due to shortcoming. That is why in the madhab al-Imam Shafi'i, Hajj Ifrad is better than Tamattu'. Because Tamattu' there is, you have to pay a sheep. So that is why when it comes to Ifrad, which we'll speak later, is better. Because there is no dam in Ifrad, but there is dam in Tamattu'. وَالْإِحْرَامُ مِنَ الْمِيقَاتِ أَفْضَلُ مِنْ بَلَدِهِ. If a person asks the question, where is better for me to do ihram? At the miqat or from my country? From Singapore, or Yalamlam? Can I do any ihram in Changi Airport? Yes, you can. You can do the ihram, but usually nobody does that. Nobody does that, because once you do the ihram, you have to observe all the prohibitions of ihram. But which is better? You do ihram in Singapore or in miqats? Of course, any in miqats. In miqats. This is better because the Prophet ﷺ, he does it in miqats, not any at his house. And when he wants any to go to Hajj. Then the author mention on the pillars of Hajj and Umrah. Faslun arkanul Hajj khamsatun. There are 5. Al-ihramu wal-wuqufu bi-arafah. Wal-tawaf wal-sa'yu wal-halq. These are the 5. The ihram, to be in the land of Arafah. Tawaf, tawaf ifadah or tawaf al-Hajj. Sa'i and halq, shaving and trimming. All these are the 5 integrals of Hajj. Wa arkanul umrati arba'a. When comes to Umrah, there is 4. But usually we say the integrals of Hajj is 6 and not 5. Because the other one is tartib, which is not mentioned by the author. Sequence. And then when it comes to Umrah also, number 5 we have sequence. So 6 for Hajj, 5 for Umrah. So for Umrah we have 5. Al-Ihram, Tawaf, Sa'i, Halq. Then we add one more, that is tartib, the sequence. So the author mentioned now the first integral is the integral of Ihram. So he said, Al-Ihramu niyatul hajji awil umrati aw huma. So when it comes to Ihram, meaning of Ihram is making the intention to perform Hajj or Umrah, or both of them. وَيَنْعَقِدُ مُطْلَقًا ثُمَّ يَصْرِفُهُ لِمَا شَاءَ. If a person makes general intention, he said, I make the intention of Ihram for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But then he did not specify, is your Ihram for Hajj or Umrah? He did not specify. Is valid. Is valid. With the condition that he makes his mind before he performs the nusuk. Before he performs the nusuk, he must make his mind whether he wants to perform Hajj or Umrah. وَيُسْتَحَبُّ التَّلَفُّزُ بِالنِّيَّةِ. It is a sunnah to say out our intention. نَوَيْتُ الْحَجَّ وَأَحْرَمْتُ بِهِ لِلَّهِ تَعَالَى, or نَوَيْتُ أُمْرَةَ وَأَحْرَمْتُ بِهَا لِلَّهِ تَعَالَى. This talaffuz بِالنِّيَّة. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he say out his intention. And then he mentioned, فَيَقُولُ نَوَيْتُ الْحَجَّ أَوِ الْأُمْرَةَ وَأَحْرَمْتُ بِهِ لِلَّهِ تَعَالَى. This is how we make the intention. We make the intention by saying that we intend to perform in the Hajj and Umrah for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَإِنْ حَجَّ وَاعْتَمَرَ عَنْ غَيْرِهِ قَالَ نَوَيْتُ الْحَجَّ وَالْعُمْرَةَ عَنْ فُلَانٍ وَأَحْرَمْتُ بِهِ لِلَّهِ تَعَالَى. If a person is doing any Hajj for somebody else, so he said that I make the intention to perform any Hajj or Umrah عن غيره, عن فلان بن فلان, عن فلان بن فلان. قال نويت الحج والعمرة عن فلان وأحرمت به لله تعالى. So this is how you make intention for others. I make the intention of Hajj and Umrah for fulan, a particular person, and I do ihram for him. وَيُسْتَحَبُّ التَّلْبِيَّةُ مَعَ النِّيَّةِ. It is a sunnah to do talbiyah when we perform that intention. Once we say نويت الحج وأحرمت به لله تعالى, then it is a sunnah for us to perform the talbiyah. لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك. So we say out the talbiyah, we make salawat upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and this is a sunnah wal iksaru minha, and to do it a lot. Wa raf'u sawt li rajuli. It is a sunnah for men to raise their voice. Illa fi awwali marratin fayusiru biha, except for the first talbiyah. Once we say out the intention, we do it quietly. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik, innal hamda wa ni'mata laka. All this is based on ittiba, because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam does like that. Wa yundabu an yadhkura ma ahrama bihi wasiratuha. And then he speaks about the sirah of the talbiyah. Yundab yadhkura ma ahrama bihi. So he said, Labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik, innal hamda wa ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika lak. Yadhkur ma ahrama bihi, meaning labbaik Allah bil umrah, labbaik Allah bil hajj. So he put this in his talbiyah. If he's performing any Hajj, you say labbaik Allahumma labbaik any bil Hajj, labbaik Allahumma labbaik bil Umrah, like that. وَيُكَرِّرُهَا ثَلَاثًا. So he repeats it for 3 times. ثُمَّ يُصَلِّي عَلى النَّبِي صلى الله عليه وسلم. Then Allahumma salli wa sallim ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallim. Then he does it again. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika lak labbaik. So this is any considered to be one set. And 3 times any of talbiyah, one times any of salawat, any upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. ثُمَّ يَسْأَلُ اللَّهَ تَعَالَى رِضَى وَالْجَنَّةَ وَالْإِسْتِعَاذَ مِنَ النَّارِ. اللهم إِنَّا نَسْأَلُكَ رِضَاكَ وَالْجَنَّةَ وَنَعُوذُ بِكَ مِنْ سَخَطِكَ وَالنَّارِ. This is how we recite also in the Ratib al-Imam al-Haddad. Allahumma inna nasaluka ridaka wal jannah wa na'udhu bika minan nar. Summa da'a bima ahab. Then he makes any dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for whatever things any that he wants any to us. وَإِذَا رَأَى الْمُحْرِمُ أَوْ غَيْرُهُ شَيْئًا يُعْجِبُهُ أَوْ يَكْرَهُهُ قَالَ لَبَّيْكَ إِنَّ الْعَيْشَ عَيْشُ الْآخِرَةِ. So while any in the state any of ihram, it is encourage any that we remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you see any something any that amazes us, or something any that we do not like, then we say labbaika innal aisha aishul akhirah. For very life, any the reality of life is life in akhirah. This is any the sayings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He taught the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. Whenever any they see anything any that amazes them, we can recite any this dua. Even if you are not in the state of ihram. Yani you see something that you are attached to, for example. You say labbaik Allah, you say innal aisha aishul akhirah. There is this, the full any is wansugil ansar wal muhajir. Allahumma innal aisha aishul akhirah wansugil ansara wal muhajira. This is the complete one. Allahumma innal aisha aishul akhirah wansugil ansara wal muhajira. The Prophet ﷺ, when he mentioned this when he was digging the trench. When he was digging the trench. So the Sahaba, all of them will recite this as the zikr. Allahumma inna al-aisha aishul akhirah wansugil ansara wal muhajira. So this is a dua that we can recite. Then the author mentioned what are the sunnahs in ihram. So he said, Fasdun wa yusannu al-ghuslu lil ihram. Before any perform ihram, sunnah for us to bathe. So when we bathe, and we make the intention that bathing any for the sake of ihram. Walidukhuli Makkah. Yani whenever we want to enter Makkah, sunnah any for us any to bathe first. Sunnah any for us to bathe. So normally any we check in the hotel when we enter into the Makkah. So before any we go out any to perform any our umrah, for example, our tawaf, then we bathe first. We bathe and then any we go out for the intention any of entering any Makkah. وَلِوُقُوفِ عَرَفَةٍ. Likewise, any person that he wants to do wuquf in Arafah, sunnah for him to bathe. وَالْمُزْدَلِفَةِ. Before any going any to Muzdalifah. Before going any to Muzdalifah, any you have to bathe any in Arafah. Otherwise, any you will not have any the time. وَلِغَامِ أَيَّامِ تَشْرِيقٍ. And when we want to throw the Jamrah for the 3 days any of Tashriq. Every time we want to go out, we bathe. Sunnah. وَتَطِيبُ بَدَنِهِ لِلْإِحْرَامِ. And before any we make the intention of ihram, we put on perfume, tatib. Duna thawbihi. And the place any that we put any perfume any is our body and not any on the ihram. Because why? If you put any perfume any on the ihram, if you take out the ihram and you put it back, you have to pay the dam. So that is why it's not encouraged any to put perfume any on your ihram. وَلُبْسُ إِزَارْ وَغِدَاء أَبْيَضَيْنِ جَدِيدَيْنِ ثُمَّ مَغْسُلَيْنِ وَنَعْلَيْنِ. Yani to wear izar and rida. If you look at the ihram and you have the izar and is the bottom part. Rida is the top part of the ihram. We call it izar and rida. Abiyadain. Sunnah you need to wear white. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam loved white, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us to wear white in ihram. All this is a symbol of the kafan. That one day we will return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It reminds us about death. It reminds us about death. And also as an intention that Allah will forgive our sins, just like white clothes are cleansed from dirt. Jadidain. It is a sunnah to wear jadid, the new ihram. So when we want to perform any umrah hajj, no issue and buy a new one. Summa maghsulain. If you don't have any, then we can use a recycled one that is washed. وَنَعْلَيْن, and to use slippers or sandals, but not shoes. It's not permissible any for us any to use any shoes. So we can use sandals or slippers. وَرَكَعَتَانِ يُحْرِمُ بَعْدَهُمَا مُسْتَقْبِلًا عِنْدَ إِبْتِدَاءِ سَيْرِهِ. Then we perform the 2 rak'ah of ihram. After we put on the ihram, we perform 2 rak'ah. Then we make the intention. So the intention, the prayers comes before the intention of Hajj or before the intention of Umrah. Mustaqbilan, facing the Qibla. Inda ibtida'i sayri. So when he does the ihram, when he is on the way, his journey from the miqat to Mecca, that is the point, and then he makes the intention of the ihram while facing the Qibla. So all of this are sunnah, because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he rode on his animal, then only he makes the intention of Hajj and Umrah. So all this is based on ittiba'. وَيُسْتَحَبُّ دُخُولُ مَكَّةَ قَبْلَ الْوُقُوفِ. It is a sunnah to reach Makkah before wukuf in Arafah. To enter into Makkah first, before going to Arafah. وَمِنْ أَعْلَاهَا نَهَارًا مَاشِيًا حَافِيًا. And to enter Makkah from the top part of Makkah, and in daytime, mashiyan, walking, hafiyan, meaning not wearing any footwear. Although nowadays all these things, not many people are doing it. Aw an yatufa lil qudum, that he does the tawaf of al qudum in kana hajjan aw qarinan. So now it depends on our intention. What are we intending? Are we intending to do our Hajj first or Umrah first and Hajj, or we are combining any intention? So the author is saying, if you are intending to perform the Hajj first, or you are combining Hajj and Umrah, then you have to perform tawaf qudum. So when you enter into the masjid, you perform tawaf qudum. In kana hajjan aw qarinan wa dakhala Makkah qabla al-wukuf, and he enters in Makkah before wukuf in Arafah. So the tawaf that he does is tawaf qudum. This is in a situation if a person makes the intention of Hajj first, then Umrah. So he does tawaf al-qudum. And then he has the option whether to do sa'i after that or not to do sa'i. Then he mentioned fastun wajibatu tawaf. So inshallah I think we will stop here. Wajibatu tawaf, and he will speak about the conditions on the obligation on the integrals of tawaf. So we have spoken about the conditions of the intentions. So inshallah ta'ala we will continue in our next lesson, inshallah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala sayyidina Muhammad. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adhaban nar. Sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi sallam. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.